What's up? My name is Travis Cosentino with Travis Travels. This is Baby. She's a 1994 GMC Rally STX with a 5.7 liter V8. The GMC Rally was designed to appeal to buyers whose main interest was a no-nonsense, solid workhorse, capable of handling big loads of people or cargo, and that was the Rally's long-standing strong suit. Properly equipped, it could tow as much as 10,000 pounds. These engines are extremely reliable. They are one of the most simple, well-designed, and long-lasting engines ever produced. She's been an absolute beast, and I, for one, can attest that this engine has never let me down. One of my absolute favorite features about this van is, believe it or not, having this refrigerator right here. It's the convenience of having this fridge right here has no bounds. I love being able to just be on the road and quickly just grab a cold water, an ice cold water, set this back, and I'm good to go. It's just super convenient. But really, honestly, the ideal thing about this fridge is not just because it's right here, is that when I'm back there and I'm in the kitchen, I have access to it from both angles, because it doesn't just open this way, but it also opens from this side. So it opens on both sides. And on top of that, if I wanted to, I could just take the whole thing off. So in this space right here, you've got the banana hammock, you can use for fruits or whatever. I actually love this thing. It's actually one of my favorite things in the kitchen. And then over here, I kept all of my tea and just assortment of like kitchen items and things that didn't fit on the spice rack. And obviously you can just take this out of the way if you want to and make that space however you want. But I also have this mirror here. Now this mirror is obviously, it is adjustable in this way. And so you can have it, it's got, this is just great for like when you're in the bathroom, you're getting ready to, and you want to wash your face, or you want to do your hair, or if you're a gal and you want to do some makeup, you've got, the mirror here, you've got everything you need, and the light is just right there. So it's really perfect for any situation. I also added some foam here on the back so that when you're riding around, especially when you're off-road, this thing isn't banging up against the wall, making a lot of noise, scratching things. So this is it's a pretty sweet little setup. So in this space underneath here is essentially the kitchen. Down below here I've got a stove. It's a 2-burner stove. I've got plenty of gas down here below, but this is where I kept my dry storage like rice and crackers and chips and things like that. And then down below here I keep all my pots and pans, my Tupperware, just whatever I can fit in there, like salt, like things that are bigger items. But this totally worked exactly perfect for me, and nothing ever slid out or came out while I was driving. And I've driven all over the place off-road and I never had any problems. And then of course right here, this is just a little piece of the broom. Perfect way to kind of clean things up. And this stove's got this piece that just pulls right out and it attaches on the side, and then you add a gas can to it and you're good to go. And I've got these windows here that pop out, and you can just vent the air from the backside. And yeah, you shouldn't have any problems with oxygen or whatever. And if anything, I also have a fan just up over here that I can circulate the air, so it's quite safe. And then right over here, I've got a 5-gallon gray tank. So I've got 10 gallons of water. They're 5 gallons each, and you can get these at Walmart, Albertsons, Vons, any one of those places that make this primo water. This totally works. It's a great setup. It's super functional, and yeah, I haven't had any problems with it. Over here is where I kept all of my clothes, my towels, my stuff. This is pretty much the storage area for things. And I've also got a surge protector back over here, as well as a USB. So you're pretty much set back here. As well as, don't let me forget, and I don't want to forget this as well, this is a gun magnet. I recommend having a gun. Don't put yourself in a position where somebody gets so close that you have to stab them or use a taser. Have a gun. Have it readily available right here, so if somebody breaks in, you're good to go. So the switch for the light is right here, and this little device right here, it's just got a nice little magnet strip on it, so you can just put it right there back on the metal and it'll stay easily. Or you just pull it right out, turn the light on. While it doesn't seem like it's very bright, it actually is quite bright at night. It's got multiple settings and super easy. So with the original build, I had a smaller toilet, and I have found that it is so much better to have a bigger toilet. So rather than having to dump every other day, I dump every 3 to 4 days. So this is a much better choice. And I just added this belt on here because a lot of times when you would stop the vehicle right away, it would slide forward and it would kind of make a mess. And yeah, so this obviously, having this belt here makes a huge difference, and you know, it's adjustable. So if you got a smaller one, you could obviously tighten it to make it fit right on there. But this is a brand new toilet, never been used. So behind here is where I keep my toiletries, obviously toilet paper, whatever I can really fit in there. It's just kind of a convenient place to be able to have things. So what I would recommend at some point down the road, probably as soon as possible, is getting yourself a diesel heater. And this spot right here is actually perfect for it. It's got just the right amount of space. And the one I found is called LF Brothers. It's made in New Zealand, but they had the best quality looking one that I've seen out of all the other ones, and it had really good reviews. So I'll highly recommend that particular one, just because, again, quality control, the way it's built, the warranty they hold it, and it perfectly fits in this space, because you'll need the space to be able to pour the diesel fuel into the tank to have it do its thing. So back here is the solar setup. You've got a 100 amp hour iron phosphate lithium battery. Right here we have a 2000 watt pure sine wave inverter. Got all of the fixings that you need in terms of fuses. I have extras as well. They're in that thing back there. I've got 400 watts of solar panels up top. This is a more than enough setup for virtually anybody. The only thing I would recommend is, in the future, if you'd like, is to get another battery. And you could probably set it side by side right here and make it work just fine. This is a 40 amp hour solar charge controller. It's one of the better ones that you can get. And then right here I've got another fuse box, and you know, you've got the 5, 10, 15, 20 amp. So depending on what amps you have that you're doing, like I have my fan hooked up on here. The ceiling fan is hooked up right here. I've got all the fuses and the grounding, and all the wiring is right here, perfectly laid out. It's very simple, and everything's pretty much good to go. So right here is this is connected to the solar charge controller, and this tells me how much battery life I have, how many volts I'm getting, and how many volts are stored in the battery. So I really like having it just right here where I'm driving, because most of the time I'm right here in the front seat. And then right here is my fan. And I use the fan a lot, especially when I'm on a hot summer day. If I want the fan running to keep the van cool, man, it's a game changer. That fan is an absolute game changer. So this was just essentially my seat. It's where I would sit for a bulk of my time if I wasn't lying in the bed. And in here also serves as storage. So everything you see in here is yours. This is a shovel system. Should you get stuck, you could dig yourself out. Lots of bungee cords. I've got tons of connectors and things that you'll need if you want to do some more wiring. I've got a 12,000 pound jack here, which is, you need a pretty powerful jack to lift this van. Got some wheel stops. You've got a voltmeter for reading your battery if you have any issues. Lots of extra wires. And also, I wanted to mention, I've got the original handles for the sliding door. The sliding door on the inside doesn't have the handles. Now, I've tried taking them off, but I can't get it off. But if you can, or if you hire somebody to take it off for you, you've got the original parts and you won't have any problems with that. I also have a spare handle. I've got lots of extra stuff in here. All these things are like things that you will need. I also have one of these master locks. I originally bought it for the back of the van, but I never ended up installing it. But I would recommend it because these vans are pretty easy to break into for thieves. And then I've got an extra meter here. This connects to your inverter and it'll give you battery power. So if you wanted to have, to see like how much battery power you had without having to go up to the front, you could have it somewhere over there and you would be able to see. So super easy, it just plugs right in. But yeah, and I've also got a block here. It's just a bunch of wood glued together, but you'll need this to put the jack on top of, and then you'll have the height that you need because the jack obviously won't reach far enough for that. But yeah, you're pretty much good to go with this. So originally when I first built this van, all I had was like a little trash can lid up here, but I've replaced it with a legit door now. This looks so much better. But one of the other things I did is I added some hooks here because this bag would just sort of dangle and it just kind of laid down and never really caught the clothes. So now it's going to catch the clothes. You don't have to worry about that anymore. No fuss, no muss. Good to go. And some of you may be wondering about this white sort of cover here. There's some insulation back here, but it needed to be flexible insulation. And so obviously I couldn't keep going with the wood paneling on here because there's some wiring back here, and if a mechanic or somebody needs to get back here to this, they can just pull it right out and get right to it. One of the things about van life is you're always trying to save space, or you're maximizing the space that you have. And right here is where I kept these little ladder. It's kind of like a ladder system, but basically what it does is when you get stuck in the mud, you just throw this ladder system underneath your wheels and it'll help you get out of the dirt. And these come with the van as well. So believe it or not, one of the most overlooked things in van life is keeping your stuff safe. And no one has ever looked here and found this, but this is it's a hitch safe. Now I've heard that these are really easy to break into, but that's only if they know you've got it. And I've yet to have anybody ever even notice it. And I'll be happy if, obviously I'll give you the code when you get here, but this is really great for holding keys, especially when I was at the beach and I didn't have anywhere safe to put anything. This has been great for like hiding my keys and hiding credit cards, just things that I don't want anybody getting a hold of if they were to get into my van. Oh, and there are just a few little like quirks that I have with this van that I don't consider deal breakers, but they are things that I should mention, and I kind of forgot just in all the heat of the fun and everything. But anyways, first things first is the lights. So the lights in here, they work. They absolutely work. However, I removed the switches so that when you open the door, the lights don't come on, because when you're stealth camping, you don't want lights coming on in the dark, and like you don't want to give any attention to yourself. So I removed those lights. They don't come on, but I still have the switches, and if you want to put them back in, you're more than welcome to do that. The other thing is that the windshield wipers, the switch for them doesn't work anymore. The windshield wipers work, but you have to switch it manually every time you want the windshield blades to go back and forth. It's not ideal, it's not great, but it's not that much of a big of a deal for me because it doesn't really rain that often, and I don't. It's not a giant inconvenience for me. It does work though. However, this van did come with cruise control. I've never been able to use it because that part where the switch and all that is broken. However, I bought the part. So I have the part, but the problem is, in order to install this very simple part, you have to take the whole steering wheel out to install it. And that, I was quoted at like $500, and I was just like, I'm not spending $500 for this. I mean, anyways, I have the part. If you want to pay somebody or do it yourself, by all means, have at it. But that is a quirk. The other quirk are the seat belts. Now, these seat belts, you can't just pull them out one-handed. You gotta use the other hand and you pull it and pull. So you pull from this side and you pull this way. And that's how you get it to come out nice and smooth. And then, you know, it works just fine. There's no issues with it, but you do have to kind of guide it out. So that's a quirk, right? And then there's one other thing. Oh, and then the rust. Okay, so it does have rust, but it's not rust that's like cut through the metal. It's just surface rust. It's not a big deal. You can easily just sand it right down to the metal, reprimer, repaint. I've already taken care of the rust that's on the roof, so you're good to go there. But the rust that's on the side of the van, while it is not ideal, I did find a painter out here that said he would repaint the whole thing for like $300, which is a steal. That's dirt cheap. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but I do know exactly where he's at, and I'll be happy, if you do come out this way, I'll be happy to share with you that information. I promise I'll get it later on. Also, I wanted to also say that one of the things that wasn't really the most ideal for me when I was living in this van was the seat. The seat here, although it's comfortable, it doesn't spin around like a captain's chair. And I strongly feel in terms of like not just functionality of the space, but just comfort of the space, because you don't want to have to always have your relaxation in bed. You don't want to always have to be in bed to relax or to do your work, is what I did. Every time I did anything in the van, I was basically on the bed. And the only time I used that seat back there was like if I was brushing my teeth or if I was just kind of like changing clothes or whatever. So I highly recommend going to a salvage yard or a junkyard or whatever and getting yourself a captain's chair to replace this. You can also get a universal chair mount that goes up underneath this chair, and you would just have to get a steel plate, and you could make a steel plate with the proper holes and attach it to that universal mount. I'll leave the links below, and you could use that, and I think it's like $115 for that, so pretty reasonable. Or you could go to a salvage yard and find one, but you have to make sure you get the right one that fits the holes that are in this one. So that's my recommendation for anybody that buys this van. If you're looking for like that next level of comfort and functionality, I highly recommend getting a captain's chair, or like I said, getting a universal mount so that you could do that. So the fan has a motor on it, and it used to work where it would open and close automatically, and one day it just stopped working. I ordered a brand new motor and I replaced it, but it still didn't work. So I'm thinking it might have something to do with the motherboard, but I'm obviously not going to rip it out and do that all over again. But again, the fan works, and that's what's important. If you need to open and close it, you just do it manually. Anyways, I believe I've disclosed about as much as I can with the things that are like quirks or things that are wrong with it or whatever, but those are minor things. Everything else works just fine. The radio works, all the lights and the blinkers and all the things that are supposed to work, they all work. And the engine runs great. The transmission is very smooth. There's no issues there. So yeah. She may not be the prettiest looking thing on the outside, but she's beautiful on the inside, and that's all that matters. So thanks so much for joining me on this amazing tour. It's been a long time coming, but I'm so grateful to finally be at this point. She is now for sale at $11,111, and I think that is a steal of a deal considering everything that you get with this. She is move-in ready. You're ready to live off-grid. You're ready for the van life. Here you go. I can't wait to hear from you guys. All of my contact info will be down below. Thanks so much again. I mean, right when I started filming the other place, people are coming outside. Right when I turn on the camera, the fucking train shows up. Oh my God. People routinely, why can't I say that fucking word? Don't you hate it when you do the whole segment and you're like, yes, that was so perfect. Oh, I wasn't recording. It's okay, I'll get it.